Hey everybody, welcome to our fall eLab Demo Day pitch event. We're excited to have you all here. 212 people so far. We normally hold this event in New York City, which is wonderful, but it's a much smaller room. So we're excited that we are doing this online and almost double the number of attendees from last year. Let me tell you a little bit about eLab before we get started with the event. eLab is a credit-bearing accelerator program on campus in Ithaca for anybody from the Ithaca campus or the New York City campus from any school. So we take juniors all the way through PhD candidates, and these are folks who are serious about starting a business as they're ending their academic career. So unlike other courses, and we have a lot of great entrepreneurship courses at Cornell in all of the various schools, obviously in Johnson and engineering and in hotel, unlike the courses where you're learning the theory of entrepreneurship, which is important, now you are putting it into practice and you're looking to launch a business. Every year we take in anywhere from 15 to 20 plus teams. We have 21 this year. And by the end of the semester, by the end of the spring semester, a number of those teams have determined there's an opportunity there and they go on to launch very successful businesses. Our companies have raised a fair amount of money as they go. So let me tell you a little bit about what you are going to see today in this particular pitch event. Michael, next slide. So we're going to have, we have 21 teams. So there's going to be 4 blocks, 3 of 5, 1 of 6. Very short, 3 minutes. What the teams are going to be telling you is who's their customer? What problems that customer have? What benefit is that customer looking for? What's the solution that they're starting to think about? This is not a pitch for money. This is a pitch to tell you what they're thinking about. And maybe you can look at it and say, oh, I have a question. Maybe I know I have someone I can connect you to. Maybe you're the person who can help them. So pay attention as we go through these pitches. If you have a question, put it in the chat. And between each block of pitches, we're going to have a small Q&A section where you can, where Marla Bear is going to moderate and ask those questions of the teams at this pitch. And then you'll have an opportunity. Michael, next slide. You'll have an opportunity at the event, end of the event. We're going to have separate rooms, separate Zoom rooms where the teams are going to be grouped. And if you want to go spend more time with one of the teams, ask them questions, give them suggestions, give maybe a tweak they can do to their presentation or what you really liked, then that would be an opportunity to go spend more time with those individual teams. And we'll give you instructions on how to do that later on at the end of the presentation. Michael? Entrepreneurship is a team sport, we like to say, and we have a great teaching team teaching eLab. So most of these folks are Cornellians. A couple of us are not. Nick Nikitas in the bottom right, he actually is an eLab alum. 6 years ago, went through this program and runs Rosie App, a very successful company. Andrea Polito is from the engineering school. Tom and Brad are MBAs, and I think Tom did his undergrad here. So we have this broad expertise. Nate has some legal background he brings to the table. I have a software background, and it's really a joy to work on this program. So we have a big team, and then we have a lot of mentors, people like you who can offer advice to the teams, maybe have very specific domain knowledge. So again, as you're hearing the pitches today, pay attention for how you could help and offer suggestions, make connections, and so forth. All right, I want to introduce the moderator for today, Michael. Today's moderator is Marla Bear. She is also an eLab alum. She came through eLab last year. She's a Johnson MBA 20 student. She's now running a company called Hopscotch, and you can see the logo there, doing an awesome job. I've had an opportunity to hear her pitch to real investors now as she goes to raise money. She's got a really interesting business going. So I want to hand it over to Marla, who's going to run the show today.
Thanks so much, Ken. It's a real treat to be here today, and I'm really excited to have the opportunity to moderate for these amazing entrepreneurs. It's really exciting to be back. So first, we're just going to head right into AI learners.
Hi, everyone. So I will be starting off today. So my name is Adele Smolansky, and I'm the founder of AI Learners. So here on the screen, you can see a picture of my sister, Laura. She has a neurological disorder that affects her ability to learn math. She relies on a special computer that allows her to use her eyes as a computer mouse. At AI Learners, we want to create online games to help Laura and other kids with learning disabilities improve their math skills. Next slide. There are many students with learning disabilities that cannot get the same benefit from commercial online games as the games are designed for healthy kids. We have identified a range of these students based on the severity of their disability. Although we believe that all of these students can benefit from new online games, we are initially focusing on the students in the rightmost group, as they struggle the most with current websites. These students suffer from the most severe disabilities and usually attend special needs only schools. Some of these kids even rely on special assistive technologies such as the one my sister uses. After speaking with many parents, therapists, and teachers, we've identified the greatest issues that these students face. Due to a poor design of current games, students get stressed from playing games rather than actively learning. They quickly lose interest, which contributes to a popular dislike for math among kids. Additionally, many students struggle to navigate the website on their own, and many games simply do not work with assistive technology such as the one my sister uses. Now, moving on to the next slide. This is where AI Learners comes in. Our goal is to create an online platform for kids to play personalized games and to carefully display their progress for parents, therapists, and teachers. These games will have an appropriate amount of breaks, positive reinforcement, and clear instructions, clearly adapting to each student's needs and giving them the most engaging games, ensuring that their learning is optimized. All students will receive a personalized set of games based on their initial profile, and game difficulty and design will adjust over time according to our backend game data analysis. For example, the number of answer choices or the type of background or the layout of objects on the screen can change in addition to the math level of the game. Then, using each student's data, we will carefully display a student's progress for both the student and for their caretakers. Students will get stars and rewards to encourage them to keep learning, while parents, therapists, and teachers will get clear reports to see how the student has been improving. Then the more data we collect, the easier it will be to identify where a student is struggling and how we can improve their math skills in specific areas. Lastly, the website will be compatible with assistive technologies such as the eye gaze machine that my sister uses. In the future, we hope to help as many students as we can and to clearly identify what each student personally needs. Thank you. That is AI Learners. And now I will pass it on to the next group, Just Greens, or Veg Forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Adele. Hello there, my name is Susan Lin, and on behalf of the Veg Forward team, we're excited to be here today. Next slide, please. Our inspiration came from our co-founder, Marcin. A few years back, Marcin worked as a field engineer for a Danish company. He frequently traveled to remote areas of Northern Africa and the Middle East. And during these business trips, he had limited access to fresh produce and the resources to prepare them. But to maintain a healthy diet, it was vital for Marcin to bring a portable product with vegetable-based nutrition, but that was also shelf-stable and easy to prepare for these trips. And while he struggled to find something like this in the US that wasn't high in sugar, sodium, or additives, he found an EU-based product that checked all those boxes. The product has occupied prime real estate in Marcin's pantry ever since. And when Marcin started his Cornell journey, he realized that many of his fellow Cornellians also had the same problem. Next slide, please. One of our key target segments are college students who actively seek a more balanced or plant-forward diet. They have a stronger desire to be healthier and seek out products with plant-based nutrition. However, to fulfill these needs can be challenging. From interviews conducted in the past year, we observed that many of these students experience three main issues. Fresh produce spoil easily, and they do not have easy access to fresh produce. They do not have an equipped kitchen, or they share a kitchen, have limited shelf space, and have limited time to prepare foods. They are often on a budget. Next slide. We intend to solve these issues with Veg Forward. Veg Forward is a nutritious, all-natural, dried, plant-based mix that is soup ready and can easily be incorporated into your daily diet. Just add hot water. There are no additives, no added sugar or sodium, and it's gluten-free. Next slide. We intend to manufacture the product. However, we will import the EU product for our MVP testing. Veg Ford will be sold at a retail price of $3 as a single serving packet and $12.50 for a 5-serving packet with a wholesale margin of 38%. Next slide. In New York State alone, there is a sizable opportunity with our key target segment. Next slide. The Veg Ford team comprises of Marcin, Annie, and myself. Next slide, please. We would love to hear from you and we appreciate your support. Please feel free to reach out for any questions, feedback, or suggestions, and thank you for your time. And next, I would like to introduce to you Patrick Schultz of Bagasse.
Hello, I'm the co-founder of Bagasse. So at Bagasse, we're striving to produce a prebiotic seltzer for the eco and health conscious consumers looking for a gut health beverage with no added sugar or sweeteners. Next slide. So diving into our customer segment, we're targeting consumers who are already drinking gut health beverages such as kombucha and kefir. So within this group, we've identified 2 main groups, impulse consumers and then long-term consumers. So the long-term consumers are our main focus. These consumers are already purchasing products at grocery stores, natural whole food stores, and they have preferences towards plant-based, non-GMO, organic, local, ethical produced, sustainably packaged products. They care deeply about their health and well-being of the environment. They also get most of their information from social media and the local community. Next slide. So what is the problem? We've identified the problem as a kombucha paradox. So this is essentially showing us that you need sugar to actually produce kombucha. So we've interviewed over 70 different consumers and they've all told us that they do not like sugar in their product. This is likely due because, it's unhealthy and it causes inflammation. Next slide. So what are some consumers seeking? So we've interviewed over 70 customers and we've realized that these consumers like health benefits of the product. This is essentially what the main goal of drinking these health food products, such as kombucha and kefir are, and also fresh flavors. They also like aesthetically packaged products, abstract flavors, which are a bright variety of different flavors, and also fresh flavors like citrus forward and a lot of botanical flavors. Next slide. So what might be the solution? The solution would be a prebiotic seltzer engineered for gut health. So over on the left, you see the average kombucha, which has 15 grams of sugar, no fiber, 80 calories, and an acquired taste. Not everybody really likes it. So what we're doing at Bagasse Bev Company is we're creating this prebiotic beverage with prebiotic fibers and botanical extracts, which actually increase gut health. What we're seeing is 0 grams of sugar, 2 grams of fiber, 10 calories, and it's flavored with botanicals. Within all of this processing, all of this is sustainably processed too, which is something that we have a leg up on the kombucha consumers. Thank you very much. That is all, and I will give it over to Clutch next. Thank you.
Can we go to the Clutch slide? All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Mark Vaynerb. I'm a Cornell Law alum, and I'm currently in the Johnson MBA program. I'm representing Team Clutch, and we're looking to disrupt the automotive repair space. Next slide, please. So who's our customer? Our customer is owners of out-of-factory warranty vehicles. These are typically 5 years or older. These customers like to save money on their repairs. They like to save time not going around to different auto repair shops. They like convenience of scheduling through an app, and they like trust. They want to build trust with their mechanics to know that the work that's being done is good and that they're not being taken advantage of. Next slide, please. So our customer discovery, we've done a lot of customer discovery over video calls and phone calls and some in person. And what we found is on the next slide, that the customer's problem is that They don't understand what goes on when the check engine light comes on. It's like a crying baby. We don't know if the baby needs to be fed, if it needs sleep, and the customer just wants that information. So on the next slide, they're looking for a convenient way to make rational and informed decisions about how, when, and where to fix their cars. So we're looking to connect vehicle owners and auto shops to do so. So a potential solution to our problem is on the next slide in a video here. I don't know if you can hear, but so Varun's having an issue with his car, entered in clutch. Clutch uses an OBD device that plugs into the vehicle. The device detects all of the issues, what's actually going on, and the issue is submitted. From there, technicians all in the area, these auto repair shops, are able to see the issues, get rich information about what's wrong with the vehicle, and from that information, they're actually able to place a bid with confidence and notify the user of that bid. So then the user is able to select the bid and request the best service. All right, Varun's on his way. And so the last slide is, this is my team, myself, Samuel Troy, and Yurin Du. Between the three of us, we have 5 Cornell degrees, and we're looking to disrupt this space. Thank you. Oh, and up next is policy.
Hello, my name is Henry Manley, and I'm a co-founder of Policy, a company that solves the problem of communicating technical research findings to non-technical stakeholders. Meet Dr. Ellie Nunez, a researcher at UC Davis who is interested in how proteins interact with each other. After a late night in the lab, Dr. Nunez returns to a new culture in a flask and learns there had been a reaction between 2 proteins. One of these proteins is in cow's milk, and by adding in the second, she predicts milk will be able to stay on supermarket shelves for twice as long. She's elated by the discovery and hops on a call with a lobbyist that helps her secure United States Department of Agriculture funding and explains to her the good news. She needs to make sure this project continues to get funded. However, the lobbyist is unsure what Dr. Nunez means, and the project has already been funded for 3 years, and she's not sure she can convince the legislature to do it again. Dr. Nunez then calls a local dairy farmer to tell him the good news. And like the lobbyist, he is confused by the language she uses and is not sure he has the tools to change the process right away. Now, while this is a silly example, the communication of research findings is not a trivial problem. It's not a straight path, and it does not get accomplished over the phone. It requires a lot of money, but is still hindered by things like technical language, long research publications, and unclear applications of these publications. We heard this over and over again from 265 researchers just like Dr. Nunez, who felt they had impactful work to share, but didn't have the time or skill set to translate their work. We also spoke to 103 of her bosses who have the title of Dean of Communications or Head of Outreach and are tasked with helping bring the findings into practice. But still, we heard that things take a long time to get to their desired location, and it's usually in the form of a dry website that does not centralize any information about how to take a piece of research and actually use it. We heard that large communication teams have been hired in recent years as universities scramble to solve this problem on their own. But these teams are super costly and will not be expanding anytime soon, as funds are limited in these departments. It was frustrating to hear that researchers felt their work went into the void, never to be actually used, or that sometimes lobbyists' true colors came out, as they said the research communication problem was so bad that it seemed like millions of dollars just went to waste. And now funders are seeing this as a legitimate issue and require researchers to plan their outreach strategy before they get any money. At Policy, we use a three-pronged strategy to help research centers communicate their work. We have developed an algorithm that summarizes research publications or reports into short reads that get visualized in infographics and sent to key stakeholders. Over the last year, Policy raised seed funding and tested its MVP. We participated in business accelerators and worked with research centers here at Cornell and Duke to beta test our platform, iterating on feedback along the way. And here we are, nearly a year later, with our first customer in the pipeline. But none of this could be done without our brilliant and dedicated team. COVID-19 has tested workloads and bedtimes across 5 time zones, but our data engineers, graphic designers, and research assistants have put their big brains together to deliver what we are proud to say is Policy. Thank you for your time. We look forward to taking any of your questions.
Wonderful. So some awesome pitches to get us started, and we're ready to jump into our first session of Q&A. So our first question is for the AI Learners team. Can you talk a little bit about who your end users versus economic buyer of the product are?
Yeah, of course. So we're going to be selling with 2 different groups. One would be parents initially, and they could purchase individual fees for their individual accounts for their kids. And then we'll also want to sell to schools later on in the future when we're more established. So then schools can buy an entire package for students within the school.
Great. Okay, moving on to Team Veg Forward. First question is, how does this taste? So what is the texture like, and how has it done so far in any taste testing you've done?
So I think the taste really largely depends on which vegetable base it's on. So there's 2 flavors that we're looking to push forward, which is a beet-based flavor, and then another one is a parsnip-based flavor. The parsnip or the root vegetables have a little bit more texture because just the nature of, when the vegetable is dried, that's how they are. Whereas the beet one, it's a little bit more smoother, but I think it has ranges from kind of like a clear broth to kind of like a fine chunky soup. So I think those are the texture and how it ranges.
Great. And we had one other question. What value add will you bring besides importing and distribution?
So I think we're only looking to import the product during our MVP stage. And once that's tested and learned, and we kind of know exactly how to focus our product and distribution more, then we're going to produce the product, locally. And I think the key value that it really brings is just people that want vegetable-based nutrition that just don't have access to it, or if we're going grocery shopping less frequently, if we don't have as much access, or we just want something quick and healthy. That's the value that it provides for customers that want that.
Awesome. Moving on to Team Bagase, what science supports the claim that it is beneficial for gut health?
So we're actually putting a prebiotic fiber from agave in our product. And I guess I'll just use the acronym for simplicity. It's FOSS. And it's actually clinically shown to lessen some of the symptoms of IBS. Ironically, for kombucha, they use, there's prebiotics in there, which is different than probiotics. Probiotics are actually bacteria that you're putting into your gut. Prebiotics are food for the bacteria that are already in your gut. And certain prebiotics, including FOSS, have clinical significance looking at people that have IBS or other gut issues, where there's little suggested evidence that probiotics actually can benefit your gut health regarding to IBS and other ailments that you might have.
Wonderful. Moving on to Team Clutch, our first question, and there's quite a few here, so recommend you look through. Let's see. So first question is, what exactly is your product? The OBD app, the OBD app, network, all, or some? Just describe a little bit more about the different components.
Yeah, so it's the OBD devices. It's a part of it. The main product is the platform which connects the vehicle drivers and the auto repair shops. So we would use the OBD essentially to get that rich diagnostic data over to the repair shop over the air before you have to bring your car in, which is typically what the repair shop will do. Once you bring it in, they'll plug in their device to the OBD. So we hope to do that before you even get to shop.
Okay. And then on the recruitment angle, how do you plan to build your network of technicians to roll this out? And as a follow-up to that, how do you get paid by the consumer? Do you get paid by the consumer and the technician, or just the consumer of the product?
So the transaction will go through our platform, and from there we'll take a fee from that individual transaction. We are working with different models. We're working with a subscription-based model as well, looking into that, how that would work, to kind of just have the OBD in the car, monitoring the vehicle, and making sure that using predictive analytics, something won't go wrong, fixing problems before they become much bigger problems.
And last up, team policy. Just describe a little bit more about who your economic buyer is.
Sure. Our economic buyer is often Dr. Nunez's boss, the Dean of Communications or head of outreach at a research center, whose job it already is to kind of help the word or the research that's in these universities get out. And this is one tool that they can use to make sure that their research is actually getting directed to their stakeholder exactly how they want to see it.
Great. Thank you so much to this first group of entrepreneurs, and thank you for all the questions. I'll encourage you to just follow up with them individually. And now we're moving on to the next section. First up is Team Heal.
So hi, everyone. We are Heal, and we provide culturally adapted mental health services to Chinese international students studying in the States. Imagine Ming, who is a girl who was born and grew up in China, and coming to Cornell is the first time in her life to live and study in the United States. And just like many college students, she has a lot of emotional issues, but she's unable to talk about these issues to her family and friends, not only because she does not want to pour all this negativity to these people, but also because there are just so many situations that she faces in the United States that her friends and families in China just cannot understand. However, she is also not willing to go to Cornell's mental health services because firstly, mental health is a huge cultural stigma in the Chinese culture. And secondly, she's uncomfortable with using a foreign language to talk about her intimate issues. And thirdly, she sees Cornell's mental health services as too formal and her issues not severe enough to go there. And the founding team of Heal has the advantages to solve these kind of problems. My name is Anna, and my co-founders Helen, Elsie, and Ling. We are all Chinese international students, so we are closely connected to the community. And all of us study psychology-related majors, so we really understand the science behind mental health. And that's why we came up with the solution of Heal, a peer emotional support chatting service in Mandarin. There are currently about 400,000 Chinese international students studying in the States. And Ming is representing one of many of them. And Ming can now and will now go to Heal because firstly, she no longer sees the cultural stigma nor the formality of these mental health services because Heal frames itself as simply as a chatting service. She no longer has a language barrier neither because she chats with someone at Heal in Mandarin, and she chats with a peer counselor who understands exactly where she's coming from as an international student studying in the States. And we launched our MVP with the Cornell student community in late June this year, and we've seen a steady growth of our users who we mostly acquired through channels such as the Chinese Student Association networks at Cornell. And right now, we have two major aspects that we want your help in. The first is that we really want to figure out who our potential buyers will be, whether that would be the users themselves or the parents of the students, or maybe the university of where the student's at. So we will really appreciate anyone who has experience in monetizing a service like this. We also really want to understand more about the mental health industry. So we will really appreciate anyone who has experience with any sort of mental health businesses. And below, you can see my email. Please feel free to jot it down or snap a screenshot of it. And as I said, we will really appreciate any insight that you have. And thank you so much. Next, we will welcome Team Atlas.
Hi all, thank you for being here. Sorry I can't be with you visually today. But my name is Samuel Adelaide and I'm the founder and CEO of Atlas. Atlas is a social platform which strives to promote mentorship related to early career development between URM students and young professional counterparts. Next slide. Our team decided to undertake this venture after, experiencing this problem firsthand. As a Black student, looking for opportunities in a competitive industry, we started to see this massive, complex problem rooted in systemic issues, and we decided that we wanted to set out and face it. The first step, of course, was defining the problem in front of us. And what we produced after intensive customer discovery was that a lack of resources, especially mentorship, was a problem that URM students believed deterred them from reaching the educational and early career success of their more racially privileged counterparts. Next slide. Right, so after studying the issue, we began formulating a solution. And what we came up with was sort of a specialized social network meant for, or designed for Black and Brown students, one where they can go to, network with professionals, people who have done what they're aspiring to do with their careers, with their educational careers, and with their young professional careers as well. Next slide. So with the Atlas platform, we're hoping to achieve a variety of things. Our team thought the general yet important focus on mentorship would allow us to contribute to a variety of key issues like URM matriculation amongst high school students, to colleges, increased career readiness for aspiring URM professionals, and improved/streamlined diversity recruiting for post-secondary institutions and companies as well. Next slide. Establishing an industry market for this issue was an extremely difficult thing to do, considering the complexity of the issue. But some interesting figures we found, however, were the $8 billion figure currently spent on diversity training and even more on recruiting initiatives. We also found that 49.3% of college students currently don't attend universities after high school. And the ones that do, 12.4% of them are unable to find a job right out of college. Compared to just 5.6% of general college graduates. A figure that we are starting to learn is only worsening as a result of this pandemic. Next slide. So in pursuit of our solution, we think that our team possesses a fair share of advantages. The first being the uniqueness of our solution. Being a first mover of sorts, Atlas hopes to be sort of the first network-based solution of this kind of complex diversity issue. We usually see a more direct mentorship of programs like an MLT or SEO try to tackle this problem. But with Atlas, we're hoping to sort of utilize a social network-based approach to solve this problem. We also think that the recent focus on diversity and inclusion over the last couple of months will help Atlas succeed, but we will go over this in the next slide. And lastly, the timing of Atlas, the timing of our venture is something we have to consider as well. Considering the increased attention on diversity and inclusion, we thought that Atlas would be best suited to pursue this venture at this current moment. Next slide. So like I said before, MLT and SEO and inroads as well were a couple of platforms that we had thought might be indirect competitors, while LinkedIn social network platform would be a direct competitor. Next slide. And so our business model would be a freemium platform for potential students and for young professionals as well. We would hope to generate revenue through advertisements and HR solutions as well, hoping to recruit URM students. Next slide. And so our future roadmap is, we're working on building our MVP right now. Currently, we're finishing our next round of customer discovery. After that, we'll focus on product iterations, and which will hopefully lead into product development and into our launch. Next slide. And the team comprises of me, myself, Samuel Adelaide, CEO and founder, and my technical co-founder and CTO, Lexi Tillo, the College of Engineering. Next slide. Lastly, we are seeking strategic partnerships and funding for our product development phase. Next slide. And you can contact us at that information below. Thank you for listening. And now I'll pass it on to the Vinstinct team. Thank you.
Hello, thank you. So, hello everybody, my name is Chelsea Stevens and I'm the co-founder and CEO of Instinct, where we analyze and track wine inventory for wine and spirit shop owners to predict future wine sales and improve profitability. And today I'm here with my team, which includes April Minot, Tiffany Agard, and Taylor Walker. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Thank you. So originally when we started Vinstinct, we were interested in helping the everyday wine consumer find new delectable wines to try from their local wine and spirits stores. However, as we learned more about the original problem and began thinking about a potential solution, this exposed an even greater problem in a new customer. We began to learn that many wine and spirit shop owners actually experience great difficulty in managing and analyzing their wine inventory. And this ultimately makes it difficult for them to discern which new wines to buy and in what quantity to buy them in order to limit the amount of money wasted on purchasing wines that do not end up selling well. Next slide, please. So this led us to find out more information on who our actual customer is. And we learned that this includes wine and spirits shop owners whose wine sales account for 50% or more of their total weekly sales. They also have a wine catalog of over 75 different wines and currently use unsophisticated methods such as hand ledgers and generic database management systems to keep track of their wine inventory. They also alter about 30% of their wine catalog biannually. However, these adjustments are made based on more subjective metrics such as wine distributor preferences, general wine sale history, and subjective customer feedback information. Next slide, please. So we've learned that the benefits that our customer is actually seeking includes efficiency in organizing and keeping track of their extensive wine inventory, analysis to help them make more informed decisions on future wine purchases, predictions on how quickly a wine will sell on their shelves and how popular it will be amongst their customer demographic, and increased profitability by selling more wines that are less popular. Next slide, please. So the proposed solution that we're addressing for this problem will include developing a wine inventory management system that will automatically organize and manage large databases of wine and track the changes in wine inventory while monitoring wine turnover rates and analyzing past sales to inform future wholesale purchases. It will also predict the favorability of wines among their customer demographic and provide promotional strategies and pricing tactics for each wine to increase the overall wine sales, especially for the less popular wines. Next slide, please. So there are a couple of areas where we're looking to receive help in. For customer research, we're hoping to make more connections with more wine and spirit shop owners, distributors and retailers who work with inventory management systems. And for technology consultations, we would like to be in contact with software and systems engineers for consultations on developing the technology for this platform. Thank you all for your time and attention, and please don't hesitate to reach out to Vinstinct. We look forward to connecting with you soon, and the next group to present will be Fellow.
Thank you. We are Fellow, and we're here to make passion pursuit a priority. Next slide, please. Our team currently consists of our co-founders, myself, Shek Kamara, along with Ebenezer Makete. We both have experience with technical experience as well as building several ventures. Next slide. So what do we do here at Fellow? Fellow enables college students with technical skills work on passion projects by one, helping them find these projects, and two, helping them find others to work with as well. Next slide. So although we see that many college students can gain a lot of value from Fellow, our first target user are college students with technical skills looking to work on side projects. We find that college students need hands-on experience, and so they would benefit tremendously, as well as technical projects, because these are the most common types of side projects that students are currently working on. And so over the course of the past few months, we found after researching and interviewing over 140 students, we found that the key hair on fire problem is that technical students want to work on side projects, but don't even know where to look for projects to begin with. Next slide. So take, for example, John. John is a sophomore CS major. He's worked on a few projects in the past, and some of his goals include improving his technical skills as well as applying his learning. He also wants to look for summer internships and improve his candidacy to recruit and work on even more side projects. He's tried hackathons in the past. He's tried joining different clubs as well as online communities, but none of these have really met his full need. Next slide. And so ultimately at Fellow, we would enable John to find projects to work on as well as others to work with. And so John will gain tremendous value because he would not only develop his resume and become a more competitive candidate for career recruiting, he will also have the opportunity to work on real projects and apply his learning. Typically CS courses tend to be very theory focused. And 3, he will also be able to network with other talented students across the nation. Next slide. So some of the current alternatives include Slack communities, as well as Google project teams, which include Google Student Clubs, as well as hackathons, but they all fall short because of either they have limited exposure to projects, or they're exclusive to certain schools or certain people, or they're just not on demand, such as hackathons. Next slide. And so our solution builds on a 3-sided market, with technical students looking to work on side projects, as well as technical students who own side projects and want to find teammates, as well as companies who are looking to recruit these technical students. We will generate revenue through charging companies a fee for using our recruiting platform and access to our data. And we're also exploring a freemium model for technical students who want to use our platform to get recruited. Interesting fact is that it currently costs over $550 to recruit a single technical student. And so we believe that Fellow can offer a discounted price in order to really attract market share. Thank you for listening. I'll now pass it on to Bo.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kyle Betts, and I'll be presenting for Bolt. On the next slide, I'll introduce our team. So I study electrical and computer engineering, and my partner, Dan Webman, is a recent graduate of applied economics and management. On the next slide, I'll talk about the problem we're trying to address. So me and Dan have been playing hockey since we were 3 years old, and I'm a current member of the men's ice hockey team here at Cornell. And through all these years, we've been plagued by one issue in the way that hockey players train, and that's skating. Skating is the most important skill in the game, as it separates the mediocre players from the elite players. Yet this is an extremely intricate movement. It's extremely hard to master. The reason for this is due to the fact that the current method for training skating relies on a skating coach to watch a player skate up and down the ice and try to identify their weaknesses just by simply watching them with their bare eye. This method is both subjective and extremely inaccurate, leaving the players extremely frustrated with this current training method. The next slide, we'll talk about our customers. So the hockey market is divided into minor hockey, junior hockey, college hockey, and professional. And in our interviews, we've determined that our initial customer group should be minor hockey players playing competitively aged 11 to 16, as these customers have the highest need for a solution right now. This is because this customer segment has identified skating as the most important skill, separating them from their current level of minor hockey to the next level of junior hockey. Also, they've indicated that skating is the most difficult skill for them to improve in. Finally, in speaking to the parents of this customer segment, they've told us they're spending anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000 per season just to enroll their children in AAA hockey. On the next slide, we'll talk about why these customers care. So our customers have 2 main goals in why they want to become better skaters. The first is to make the NHL. The second is to get their education paid for on a hockey scholarship. Also, our customers have made it very evident that they do not want to waste any time or money on training that's not tailored or specific to their particular weaknesses. Also, our customers have told us that their goals are to mimic or replicate the way that the best skaters in the NHL skate. On the next slide, I'll talk about how we will provide these values to our customers. So our solution we've come up with is to use existing IMU sensor technology in motion capture to track various joint angles in various positions of body parts crucial to elite skating. Then through tracking these metrics and comparing them to measured metrics of NHL players, we can identify particular weaknesses that a player is suffering from, and then provide customized, tailored feedback and exercises and drills to address these weaknesses. With this technology, we believe we can help skaters reach their full potential in skating and also help them realize their dreams in the sport that we love. On the next slide, I just want to say thank you for your time. And also we're going to start another Q&A session.
Thank you, Kyle, and great job to the teams in Block 2. We're going to quickly jump into a question for Team Heal. Can you elaborate a little bit more about the peers on the back end? So who are they, how do you recruit them, and what's the benefit to them?
Yeah, so right now it's just the 4 of us who are using this MVP test out, and we are all trained in peer listening. But one thing I want to point out is that we never frame ourselves as a professional mental health service in any sort. We purely frame ourselves as a chatting service, which helps us not needing to deal with a lot of liability issues that people have asked about in the chat.
Great, thank you so much, Anna. Running over to Team Atlas, similar type of question. How do you recruit your mentors and keep them engaged?
Right, so we plan to do so across different universities and across different companies as well. Hopefully they would offer their own young professionals that are of a UARM status to offer them an incentive to engage with college students in order to hopefully bring them along in their own career development and recruit them up to their own companies as well. And as opposed to keeping them engaged, we'd hope that sort of the understanding of, looking back at the resources you lack to be engaging enough for young professionals to want to advise and mentor college students. So thank you.
Thanks, Samuel. For Team Vinstinct, against the direct-to-consumer wine and liquor delivery startup market, how do you see yourselves positioning yourselves in this space?
So what we believe is that no matter what, everybody finds themselves at the liquor store or wine store purchasing wine. And even though with delivery systems that, make it more convenient, people still find themselves in these spaces. So in terms of that, I guess based off of since our new customer demographic is focused more on the wine shop owner as opposed to the end user, or this would be the wine consumer, that should not necessarily be a problem. What we're trying to offer is a optimal system that will help people track their wines throughout the year and also predict how they're going to make a profit off their wines and how much wines they should be purchasing of a particular varietal.
Great. For Team Fellow, so through the eLab process and customer discovery, what has surprised you most about the problem that you're attempting to solve?
Definitely, that's a great question. So we found that at first we were kind of focused on the 3-sided market, all at once. But then we found that it was, very clear that once we had one of those customer groups, then the other 2 would come. And that was the technical students who are looking for side projects to work on. And that's because we already know where to locate the other 2, the project owners. They're all over eLab and the listservs looking for, to recruit technical students all of the time. Companies are always on campus, either recruiting, in person or virtually. But these technical students who are looking for projects, it was very hard to locate them. And so that part was kind of like the most surprising element of this whole customer discovery process. We figured that once we were able to locate them and learn more about their needs and provide value to them, then we would be able to, harness this 3-sided market.
Awesome. Since it sounds like you've done a lot of really good work to try and refine your understanding of the segments. That's wonderful.
Thank you.
For Team Bolt, how are you planning on collecting all of the data that you need to be able to build your model for correct skating?
I guess I'd say with the great thing about, me and Dan both playing college hockey and playing at the highest level all the way up is that the network among hockey players is tight and they're always willing to help out past and former teammates. Me and Dan have all played with a numerous amount of NHL players in the past, and we've actually used this system on them already. So with our network, it's actually been very easy to get in touch with the NHL players and have them help us out.
Awesome. Okay, so that's all the time that we have for this Q&A section, but just wanted to thank Block 2 teams again as well. Feel free to connect with them in the networking section or directly with the contact information they'll share. But now we're just going to move on to College Tax Comeback and Shelby. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Shelby Reagan and I'm the CEO of College Tax Comeback, and we coin ourselves as the tax filing service for college students. Next slide. And so we have found that there are three major problems surrounding college students trying to do their taxes. The first one is that we are so busy. We are in classes, we're in sports teams, we're working, we're in clubs and organizations. And our research has found that about 30% of students do not take the time to file their taxes. This means that this is money that could be going towards tuition and other college-related expenses that these college students are not getting back. The second reason is that taxes are very confusing. We interviewed so many students, about 150 students just talked to and interviewed, and we found that almost every single student did not know what an educational credit was. So this meant that the American Opportunity Tax Credit, the Lifetime Learning Credit, and all these other educational credits that are for full-time college students, literally for us, we were not using. So this meant that $1,000 could have been added to our refund that we were not getting. And then the last reason is that these services were not built for college students. So there are CPAs that charge between $150 and $300, but this is not affordable for the college student that's only getting back $400 or $500 as a refund. And then there's TurboTax, but the college student still has to put in hours of their time filing their taxes. And if they're on financial aid or invested in stocks or dividends or anything else, then they have to pay a fee. And TurboTax likes to advertise that it's free, but it's not. Next slide. So we have found that our customer is college students with jobs and internships, and oftentimes these students are disadvantaged and underrepresented because they just don't have the resources and we're not given the knowledge how to do their taxes. We also found after conducting a lot of interviews that international students are a huge market for us. International students are required to do their taxes and it's not taught in our classrooms. And so there's a huge gap in the understanding of taxes. Next slide. And so what our customers highly value is convenience. They want it to be quick and easy, and they don't want to put in all of these hours. They want their maximum cash back. If there's credits that can be applied to them, they want them used, and they want peace of mind. They want the certainty that their taxes is going to be done right. Next slide. And so our solution is we have an affordable, simple online tax filing service. And so we currently have 6 students, and all of our students that are filing taxes have PTINs, which means that we are certified to file taxes. College Tax Comebacks has an EFIN, which means that we are certified under the IRS to file taxes. And instead of paying a fixed fee like a CPA, we charge a small portion of the refund the student receives. So if a student only receives $100 back, we only take currently 9%, so that'd be $9. And then if our team members have to put in the time and effort for a lot of these educational credits, they'd get back $100, or we'd only charge about $90 for the 9%. And then the last component of our product is we have a tax financial education portion where we come into classrooms and we have workshops and we teach these students not only how to file their taxes, but how to build credit and how to invest their refund once they get it. Next slide. So we just want to thank everyone for listening. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. And then we are going to jump to Matte Black Lounges. Thank you.
Thanks so much. I am Gabe Trumbo. I'm the founder of Matte Black Lounges, and we are working to bring boutique airport lounges to mid-sized and secondary airports. If we go to the next slide. So targeting this, seeing a big opening in mid-sized airports because airport lounges are exploding right now. Priority Pass is a company that allows memberships for people to have access to all airport lounges in the country. It grew from 20 million members in 2015 to over 100 million last year. If you've never been in an airport lounge, basically pay a fixed fee, and it's kind of like an all-inclusive resort, but just for the hour or two you're at the airport, you get free food, free beverage, a more upscale, quiet waiting place, high-speed internet, so it's good for both leisure and work travelers. Right now, it's really specialized in large international airports, but with a lot of the growth recently, if you look to the right, the fastest growing airport segment is these mid-sized airports. With COVID, a lot of people are leaving the largest metros and relocating to more mid-sized markets, and a lot more people are flying through these more regional airports or secondary airports like Chicago Midway or Dallas Love. Currently, 39 of the 100 largest airports in the US don't have a lounge, and that represents about 250 million passengers annually. We're looking if we can get 5% penetration there. It's about 300 million in annual revenue, over $1 billion if you're in all 100 airports. If we go to the next slide. The way that airport lounges are currently segmented today, it's either very premium exclusive lounges that you have to be a frequent flyer and pay over $500 a year for access. So think of that maybe as the Four Seasons if it's a hotel analogy. And then on the bottom left, you see the super budget accessible, more of a Motel 8 or a Holiday Inn. And so there's nothing kind of in the middle that gives somewhat of a premium boutique experience, but is accessible for less than $500 a year and maybe in smaller, more regional airports. So that's kind of the niche that we're trying to fill. If we go to the next slide. So I'm Gabe Trumbo. I'm second year MBA at Cornell. Previous to school, I spent 6 years bootstrapping and growing a technology platform company in low seven-figure revenues. My partner, David Nguyen, also a second year MBA student at Cornell, went to undergrad at Penn. And we also have Ali McKee, helping us, who has worked for WeWork, Omni Hotels, has a lot of experience designing these type of spaces in the hospitality space. Next slide, we're looking at doing a pop-up lounge in Syracuse in January. And so this will give us kind of a 1-month test run to test our hypothesis. Syracuse kind of fits the bill of that mid-sized airport we're targeting. We've had great interactions with their director there, and they're really excited for this. So we hope to have some really great data to bring back from that in Q1 of 2021. And then next slide. We hope to be at about 20 airports within 3 years of our first launch, and then 50 within 5 years. This is aggressive, but in these mid-sized airports, almost all of them have additional space. They're very lenient on TI allowances. They want to help because these lounges bring so much value to the airport. That we think there's a lot of leverage there to work with them and to scale quickly. So thank you for letting us present. Would love to connect. You can email us. My email is gabe@matteblacklounges.com. Thank you. Next, we're going to move to Gel.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jay Chan, and I'm really excited to introduce to you Gel, an online platform for student collaboration. This is a pre-pandemic picture of Duffield Hall on the engineering quad at Cornell. It was always a lively scene at Duffield. Students would work together at tables with the freedom to move around, have multiple conversations at once, compare each other's work, sketch out diagrams, and more. This is what engineering collaboration used to look like before COVID-19. And this is what it looks like now. One person shares their one screen, one slow conversation at a time with no real back and forth, one task at a time on one call. Even with 3 people, 4 online tools, and 20 Google Chrome tabs, this isn't what engineering collaboration used to be, and this isn't what it should be. Engineering students are losing the value of in-person collaboration when working remotely. A professor once told me that the most valuable things that Cornell offers its students are the people that we're surrounded by and how the curriculum brings those people to work together. And that's what students are missing out on. Working in a team is becoming a burden instead of a benefit. And with education trending towards incorporating more virtual elements of instruction, it's important to keep thinking about improving online learning. To do this, we want to create a unified platform of tools for collaboration. One potential feature of this is the ability to link class resources directly to a project or document. This means that students can point to notes while working as if they're right next to each other. Another is visual version control. This means having all changes and versions of a project recorded and visible in an intuitive flowchart-like format. And a third is just fluid communication. Students want to virtually replicate a table chat at Duffield, where multiple conversations can happen at once and they can gesture and have more freedom in communication while working on a project. Collaboration is everywhere in education, which is why we're confident that this solution will eventually be able to scale to any university classroom, no matter the subject. Next, I'd like to quickly introduce Team GEL. Again, my name is Jay, and these are my co-founders, Eric Ma and Luke Forsman. We're all seniors in engineering, so right now, we're focused on helping small, upper-level engineering classes that are group project-based, because that's what we know best. We aim to provide value to everyone in our customer ecosystem, from the users to the buyers. The users are the students. We're tailoring the experience of our solution to them. The students want to learn and work together at the same rate online as in person. The recommenders are the instructors. Another professor once told me that her primary purpose as a teacher is to prepare her students for a real-world work environment, where almost every task is a collaborative effort. And finally, the buyer is the university, specifically teaching innovations and IT people. They want to be prepared to offer instructors an encompassing collaborative online tool when it's requested, and they're always looking for new tools that are novel and secure enough in order to help students. We believe that by providing these values to these people and with more connections in the EdTech industry, GEL will help shape the future of online learning. Thank you so much for listening, and we look forward to speaking with some of you individually. Next, I'd like to pass it on to Team Agora.
Thank you, Jill. Hi, everyone. My name is Yuqing, and I'm excited to talk to you today about our company, Agora. Next slide, please. 2 years ago, I was studying at an art university in China, and during that time, I often heard of disputes between freelance designers and their clients. For example, freelance designers cannot receive final payment after they finish their work, and clients are not satisfied with the design outcome. These disputes often happen in the Chinese design industry, so we hope to find a solution to them. Next slide. Thank you. After we interviewed more than 50 people in the design ecosystem, we found that there are two main problems leading to these disputes. First, miscommunication between both sides. Clients usually know little about design terminologies, nor the workflow behind the design. So the best they can do is to describe their expectations in their own words. And freelance designers hardly help clients figure out the exact information they need to do their job. Second, both sides are not aware of existing ways to resolve their disputes. Most of them assume litigation is the only way to solve their problems, and it might be too expensive, so that their disputes are likely to remain unsolved. On the next slide, according to our research and analysis of interviews, what can make both parties happy is an efficient way to help them reach a meeting of minds, identify risks, and hold each party accountable at the very beginning of the commission without spending too much money and time on communication. On top of that, it's important for them to know feasible access to dispute resolution beforehand. Moving to our next slide. Agora provides a toolkit for freelance designers and clients, which includes a workflow guideline, a contracting tool, and a legal instruction. First, by asking questions without design terminologies, the workflow guideline will help clients build design specifications and help freelance designers gather the details they need efficiently. Then the contracting tool will turn this information into a customized contract that both sides can edit, sign, share, and download. Finally, if one side breaks the contract, there will be legal instruction to analyze the best way for resolution and even help matching mediators. Next slide. Traditionally, millions of freelance designers and clients in China learn to do business from their own mistakes in previous commissions. With our solution, they can better deliver their expectation, prevent risks ahead, and get clear instruction on dispute resolution. Next slide.
Oh, yeah, thank you. This is all we put in our presentation. If you are interested in our idea or you work with designers, we are happy to chat with you later. Now I'll introduce to the next team, Kifi Lifestyle.
Hi, everyone. My name is Eric Espinel, and I'm part of Kefi Lifestyle Co. Simon Sinek has a really interesting quote where he said, people don't buy what you do, but they buy why you do it. And what you do simply proves what you believe. And Kefi Lifestyle plans to take this approach to business. Next slide. So Kefi Lifestyle Co. is on a mission to empower individuals from all walks of life to be their gutsiest selves. And we intend to do that by creating products that support the human microbiome and authentically engaging with consumers to inspire and promote the idea of a Kefi life. This idea was founded by my fiance and I. She comes from more of a health background with multiple years of health experience in the nursing field. And I come with more of a business background, being a second-year MBA and experience within digital marketing and CPG with Frito-Lay. Next slide. So let me tell you a little bit about why we take this approach. Through our customer discovery of over 100 plus one-on-one interviews, including sample tests, we found that there's a gap in the market when it comes to probiotic beverages that come with additional functionality and where you don't have to compromise taste for health. Digestive health is not a fading trend. It remains important and a very important opportunity in the beverage industry in terms of product development. Over 42% of consumers cite digestive health as a benefit that would motivate them to purchase a drink. And currently in the market, if you're looking for probiotics, you could take supplements, or the other option is a very, very common beverage, which is kombucha. And what we have found is that consumers say that they actually reach for kombucha more for the probiotic benefit before the taste benefit. And we found that probiotics, the number we found was that probiotics beat out taste for about 66% of kombucha drinkers, and which highlights the opportunity to steal market share because there's a disconnect between being healthy and great tasting within the current market offerings. And an example is that consumers seeking probiotic beverages usually complain about the vinegary sour taste of what's currently out there. And as we have looked into the solution, we believe that Kefi is the solution because of the unique fermentation process and the flavor applications of our intended branding and our intending branding approach to building that loyalty for customers. Go ahead and go to the next slide. So how do we do what we do? In our learnings, our target Kefi consumer believes in staying healthy by addressing the whole person, including their physical, mental, and emotional health. In terms of their behavior, they love to seek better for you products and mindfully make decisions based on taste and benefits. And they are advocates for holistic wellness within their own circles. They believe strongly in their lifestyle choices and teach others to do the same. And that is why we plan to take a consumer-focused approach to what we do. Essentially, what we're going to do is a three-pronged approach of first focusing on the consumer through providing them a product that is derived from water kefir crystal fermentation. And this includes our current lineup of the flavors that you see on the bottom with the functional ingredients added to it. And as also you can see the benefits of the beverage as well. And on top of that, in order to increase the stickiness factor, which is an important part for our consumers, is the digital branding and the content that we produce that will help generate a community of people living a Kefi life. Go ahead and go to the next slide. So we have a lot going on for Kefi right now, and we're happy to take any questions. We have a lot of things that we've come up with in terms of ensuring that this is something that can really do well in the market, competing margin-wise as well as within the retail space or digital space. So feel free to reach out to us. Our email is there and phone number is there too. Thanks. And now we're going to go to questions with Marla.
Thanks, Eric, and thanks to all the teams in Block 3. We're going to start off with a question for College Tax Comeback. So Shelby, do you have any CPAs for advisors?
Yes, we currently have one CPA in the hotel school. He's a professor, Paul Strebel. We currently have a couple other CPAs for advisors. And then we work with one major CPA firm for the very, very complex returns. And they give us guidance on those harder returns.
Great. Our next question is for Matt Black. can you talk a little bit more about how COVID has impacted your go-to-market strategy?
Yeah, so obviously the airline industry isn't the best right now. We think it actually offers a pretty unique point to enter. We think there's a lot of leverage over getting leases now and in the next 12 months. And we think there's actually going to be a lot more consumer demand because of it. Kind of by definition, an airport lounge gives you a cleaner, quieter, less crowded place to wait for your flight. The main value add, even pre-COVID, was that you got out of the crowded, noisy, kind of nasty gate area and had somewhere more peaceful to wait. And I think with COVID and even after a vaccine's out, people become more conscious kind of germs and how gross it is to kind of be herded in those terminals together. I think we'll see a lot of benefit there. And then additionally, as I touched on in the presentation, just the shifts of remote work allowing more people to move to more of these mid-sized markets lines up really well, since that's already the markets we're targeting. And even though there's projections that maybe overall business air travel will decrease, we think that in these mid-sized markets, it'll actually increase because there'll be more people relocating from New York City to Columbus, Ohio, who will still need to take some flights out for business.
Thank you. For Team Gel, how does your solution meet the unique needs of engineering collaboration specifically?
Sure. So our entire team is made up of engineers, so we've sort of had experience with these problems in the past. Engineers need to be able to sort of act like they're right next to each other. So, and that includes being able to point to notes, being able to sketch out diagrams, just talk to each other in a way that you can't do currently online. One specific example of our solution sort of tending to this problem is the ability to have multiple conversations in a group at once. So two people can be talking here on this part of the project, and another two can be talking here, sort of talking about different things, and eventually coming together to combine both of their parts. And that's just one example of one thing we're doing. But a lot of these things will be able to scale to not just engineering, other classrooms as well. So we're just starting there because that's what we know.
Thanks, Jay. Next question is for Team Agora. How do you plan on getting the attention of the freelance designers you'd like to work with?
So we basically want to start our demo product in an academic setting. In China, every university with art and design program usually have a graduation season show. And that's a place that every designers in that city will go to. So we think that reach out to students graduating that year, and also potential clients went to these shows, it would be a great opportunity to market ourselves and let these potential clients try out our product.
Thanks. For our last question for Team Kepi, you mentioned a couple of different elements of your business, from the digital content to the product in terms of the beverage. Can you talk a little bit more about what you see as your most immediate next steps?
Yeah, definitely. And so I guess just to be clear, like our product is definitely a beverage that is a naturally fermented beverage using water kefir, which is a lot more palatable than kombucha. Currently, our next step is moving forward with a pilot launch. We were hoping to do it in Ithaca, but we're due to COVID and all the resources here, we couldn't do it. So we're moving to Salt Lake City, where we're ending up full time after school and doing a pilot launch there, and hopefully being able to land some accounts and start generating some sales with it to see how it's going to stick with consumers.
Thanks, Eric. Okay, so now we're moving on to block 4, which is our final block, and Team Cloud Montessori will be kicking us off.
Great, thanks so much. My name is Aaliyah Matos, and I'm the co-founder of Cloud Montessori. Next slide. We're empowering parents to raise confident, independent, and successful children. Last March, my co-founder and I were discussing the challenge of raising children and homeschooling during COVID, balancing the needs of work, resolving sibling conflicts, and connecting with children in an authentic way was being eroded by anxiety and stress. We realized that the pandemic brought to light an ongoing need for parent support that had existed for many years. Next slide. We have spoken to over 70 parents in 3 countries, and the same challenges have continued to emerge. There is information overload. Parents are struggling. There is too much information. It's not easily digestible, and not all of it is from a trusted source. There simply is no parent playbook. We spoke to one parent with a 1-year-old, a self-proclaimed not a baby person parent. She read that her daughter might like peekaboo at this developmental stage. And lo and behold, her daughter loved peekaboo. However, she doesn't have time to go searching for suggestions at every stage of development. She wants to know what to do and when to do it. Parents don't have time to become child development specialists. Having the tools to raise young children and help build their self-esteem from a young age is even more important when you consider the current statistics of teenage anxiety, stress, depression, and suicide. Next slide. Parents are worried that their kids are not going to be okay. Next slide. What parents are really looking for is a support system to simplify parenting, reduce conflict, and help their families thrive. We provide pertinent and timely content, targeted coaching, a supportive parent community, and a suite of curated products to support them every step of their parenting journey. What they need to do, how to do it, when to do it, and what they need to be successful. Next slide. Our product is built upon Dr. Maria Montessori's pedagogy and scientific research. It is age appropriate, easily digestible, and meets parents where their needs are. We onboard our customers with a wide offering of content across a variety of free platforms. From there, we take them on a customer journey to paid premium content and to curated products that enhance children's self-sufficiency, independence, and self-esteem. Revenue streams include paid subscriptions, native advertising as an influencer in the parenting space, parent coaching, and premium products. Next slide. Next slide, please. My co-founder and I have deep expertise in education, entrepreneurship, web-based products, and also experience as parents of small children. Our advisory board consists of 3 startup founders who have deep industry experience and business acumen for new ventures. Next slide, please. We are seeking connections with anyone who has experience with building content-based products or platforms, low-code or no-code app building, and or knowledge of the edtech landscape, or legal expertise to help us with our legal filings. Thank you very much for your time. We are Cloud Montessori and would love for you to join us in breakout room number 4. I'll put the link in the chat. Up next, you'll hear from QBuddy.
Hey everybody. So gonna request. Hi. So I'm Sam and I'm a co-founder of QBuddy. We're a platform that helps people over 50 build meaningful friendships. Since launching only a couple months ago, we've accumulated users in over 150 countries, have been featured on national news sources such as Time Magazine, and were endorsed by Governor Andrew Cuomo. And this is one of our QBuddy users who's named Stace. She's 55 years old, recently divorced, and lives in rural Pennsylvania. We had a conversation with her where she explained to us how badly she wanted more genuine friendships with people who are similar to her and who she can relate to, but at her age and stage of life, how difficult it is to go about doing this. She explained to us she's tried many things. Social media sites are great for her staying in touch with people she already knows, not meeting new people. And the in-person alternatives, such as going out to bars, is really meant for younger generations where she's from. Since she feels like she has no way to go about meeting new people, she is lonely. And Stace is not the only one. Over 1/3 of people over 50 years old are lonely and socially isolated. And from speaking with over 500 of our users, we've learned that this problem is not specific to the pandemic, but rather when you get to this age and stage of life, it's very difficult to go about meeting new people. And this is a really serious problem. Social isolation and loneliness can actually lead to a variety of very serious cognitive, mental, and physical health consequences. So meet the solution, QBuddy. We help people over 50 meet new people through introductions to buddies and virtual get-togethers. The way it works is users go to our website, let us know some information about themselves, like their interests, their age, and what they're looking for in a buddy. We then run an optimal matching algorithm, which connects the best possible pairings of users together and allows them to get to know each other through our messaging platform or by attending one of our virtual video chat get-togethers. Meeting new friends on CubeBuddy allows our users to finally feel less alone, to have things to do to pass their time, and to be able to learn from other users all throughout the world. This all started just a few months ago with a couple of Facebook posts before we even had a product ready or even a website up. And at our first virtual event, we had so many people sign up that we literally, on the right here, had to borrow 7 of our friends' computers to be able to run the event smoothly. And since then, we've accumulated over 15,000 users in over 150 countries, all without spending a single dollar on customer acquisition and using an incredibly simple, basic MVP website. And although we're currently focused on building out our product and growing our user base, we've explored a variety of revenue streams, such as charging the end user for virtual events, as well as partnering with brands who are trying to promote their products to people over 50 years old. Jordan and I are both computer science majors at Cornell. We've collaborated on a variety of startups in the past and have won a variety of eShip competitions here at Cornell. We're graduating in December and we'll be pursuing CubeBuddy full-time starting in January. And going forward, our main priorities are to improve our user experience and improve our product, which is what we're going to be focusing on for the next couple of months. And although we're currently focused on people over 50, this problem goes far beyond that. Technology has torn people apart, and it is CubeBuddy's mission to use technology to bring people back together. And so if you have any contacts of seed investors or accelerator programs, please let us know after the pitch. Thank you so much. And the next team is Elixir PX. Thank you for listening.
Yep. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Abhinav, and today I'm here to talk about Elixir PX, changing patient experience by giving a voice to the unheard. Next slide, please. Before getting started, I would like to give a quick introduction to our team. My name is Abhinav, and I recently graduated Cornell in August with a computer science and math degree. My co-founders are Adi, a senior in computer science and philosophy, and Anand, a senior in mechanical engineering. Previously, all 3 of us collaborated on another startup within the hospitality space. We're also helped by our exceptional advisors, including Praful, who's helping us with product development, and Kathy, who's been fantastic for understanding the industry. Next slide. The patient experience and satisfaction space is a very broad and complex ecosystem. At the heart of this ecosystem lies patient experience managers, whose goal is to drive patient satisfaction and engagement, an increasingly important goal as over 20% of healthcare payments are tied to patient-centered, value-based healthcare. Patient experience managers have to deal with tens of thousands of feedback comments across dozens of different disconnected data sources, making it nearly impossible to analyze or manage qualitative information effectively. Next slide, please. These problems propagate down to doctors and nurses who lack insight into the patient experience process, a major part of their evaluation. This lack of transparency leads to increasingly high levels of stress, which contributes to the alarmingly high burnout rate of 55% among doctors and nurses. Next slide, please. Overall, the hospitals lose out a lot. Primary care practices are less likely to refer patients to bad hospitals, and patients are less likely to repeat experiences at bad hospitals. There are reduced Medicare reimbursements, which are increasingly tied to patient satisfaction scores. Finally, the extremely high burnout rates suffered by the medical staff is a major problem, costing over $4.6 billion annually. Next slide. The market opportunity is vast. There are over 6,000 hospitals in the US with cumulatively 900,000 beds. Over 85% of these hospitals lack the sufficient resources to meaningfully address patient feedback. In terms of our initial client characteristics, we are focused on competitive hospitals and healthcare centers, which are located in suburban and urban areas, catering to private or out-of-pocket customers, performing elective, non-essential, or recurring care type of operations. Next slide. The solution to all these problems is Elixir PX. Elixir PX is a system that integrates all things patient experience into one place, including feedback from all sources, including online and offline sources, deep NLP analysis to provide human-like insights into qualitative data. Additionally, the entire organization can utilize dashboards, reports, and project tracking to dig deep into the root causes of their patient dissatisfaction. Next slide. For patient experience managers, this means that they can analyze 20% more data, including previously underutilized online data, gaining actionable insights, and benchmarking strategies and competitors to get a better idea of where they stand within the patient experience space. The rapid and easy communication allows them to overcome organizational inertia and communicate rapidly with their doctors and nurses. For doctors and nurses, the clearer view into patient insights gives them more transparency into their evaluation process. Overall, by purchasing Elixir PX, hospitals can unlock insights from hidden data, letting them increase their referrals and retention rates, gaining higher reimbursements, as well as having lower staff burnout. Currently, Elixir PX is working on developing our MVP and gaining a pilot customer. Thank you so much for your time. And next, we have Raphael for Imperium Analytics. Thank you.
There you go. Hello, everyone. My name is Raphael Bastidas, and I am CEO and founder of Imperium Analytics. I'm really excited to get started today. So, okay, there you go. So in order to begin, sorry guys, we're having a little bit of technical difficulties here. Okay, in order to begin, let's talk about our customer, Santiago. Santiago is a new retail investor and a student at FSU. He gets his information from a variety of different sources, some more credible than others, such as CNN and Wall Street Journal, and even TikTok and Instagram. He discusses this news and investing information with friends and really enjoys trading and equity research. One interesting to note about Santiago, he's not interested in traditional portfolio management. With a portfolio valued at under $5,000 and a lot of his positions being really aggressive growth stocks, he's not interested in dividend and fixed income. He's looking for more gambles than investments. So what motivates Santiago to trade? First of all, money. Everyone loves a return on investment. I'm one, definitely confirmed that. Definitely looking to develop skills that he believes is going to be useful later on in his own wealth management. And lastly, he trades entertainment. Again, his trades looking more like gambles than actual investments. So what problem does Santiago face? First, as a new investor, wow, okay. First, as a new investor, I'm sorry, guys. Okay, so first as a new investor, wow, okay. Is there any way you guys can take control over the slide because it's just not working right now? So the problem, wow. Okay, so the problem, he has a difficult time starting their portfolio. Of course, he's not a finance major, so understanding the technicals of equity research, as well as strategies for investing as stop orders and market limits, really difficult. Another big problem Santiago faces, current research platforms assume a lot of existing financial knowledge. A lot of time he spends looking up definitions on Investopedia and is discouraged throughout the process. A last big problem he faces, a lot of the information is not relevant to his unique investment perspective. As a really aggressive investor, he's not interested in the traditional plays, but really looking for new ones. Next slide. So the value proposition. So what is Santiago looking for? What benefit is he looking for? First, he's looking for guidance and feedback on his ideas, a community with like-minded new retail investors to ask questions and learn about trading. He also wants to save time and frustration when doing stock analysis. Of course, doesn't want to spend all the time on Investopedia and looking up definitions. And lastly, he wants relevant investment ideas. Next slide. So what is a possible solution? At Imperium Analytics, we're looking to develop a platform. First of all, with digestible equity research so that this new retail investor can come in and get the information that he needs. We also want to create an investing focused social media platform and forum so these new retail investors can communicate with each other, discuss questions, and overall have a sense of community. And lastly, provide them with the qualitative and quantitative factors for them to make better trades. Next slide, please. Thank you very much for listening to this presentation. I'm Raphael Bastidas, and we are Imperium Analytics.
Thanks, Raphael, and thank you to all of the teams who presented in Block 4 and all of the amazing, incredible teams that presented today. It's been incredible hearing all of the hard work that you put in and your pitches. We unfortunately do not have time for a Q&A for this block. However, we encourage you to join Breakout Room 4, where you'll be able to connect to all of the entrepreneurs in Block 4. Now I'm going to hand it off to Ken for next steps.
Thank you, Marla. That was great. Thanks to all the teams. So look, everybody, first of all, thank you all for hanging in there. A lot of you who started with us are still here, which is great to see. What you saw today were really early stage. All of these teams applied to eLab.
Okay. I'm sorry to interrupt. I think that there are 2 more teams left.
Oh my God.
Vita Innovations is next.
Oh my gosh, we will keep going.
All right, hi everyone. Okay, great. My name is Longsha. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Vita Innovations, and today I would like to introduce my company's product, Vital Mask, a smart mask committed to revolutionizing patient care in today's era. Oh. To begin, I'd like to share with you all the story of Miss Ward, who was a 25-year-old daycare teacher from Wisconsin. In January of this year, Miss Ward walked into her local ED complaining of chest pain and tightness of breath, but she was deemed a non-significant health threat and mistriaged to the waiting room. After waiting 2.5 hours unmonitored, Miss Ward decided to go find an urgent care clinic instead. Tragically, shortly after she left, Miss Ward suffered from a heart attack and died. But this is not a unique case. Miss Ward's tragedy stems from an unfortunate consequence of the major problem known as emergency department, or ED, overcrowding. In overcrowded settings, patients could wait 4 to 12 hours before any medical care is provided, a wait that could lead to decreased satisfaction, increased number of walkouts, increased progression of symptoms, and tragically increased mortality. Now with COVID-19, there's an additional patient fear of in-hospital transmission of viral particles. To validate the problem, we've done extensive customer discovery through reaching out to over 115 physicians and nurses across the nation. The feedback we received was resounding. More than 92% of them directly addressed their concerns about ED overcrowding and its symptoms, with one medical director telling us he wouldn't want his friend to be in the ED that he manages. Moreover, we learned that a majority of them were also concerned over alarm fatigue or desensitization to hospital alarms. Taking into account their concerns, we developed Vital Mask, a smart respiratory mask that measures essential patient vitals, including heart rate, blood oxygen levels, respiratory rate, and body temperature. The mask comes with an alarm fatigue prevention system, detects when the mask is on the face, and subsequently turns off our alarm system when it's detected to be off the face. Using our companion desktop application, nurses can view all patient data at a glance while easily tailoring to their needs with its customizable alarm. In the case of Miss Ward, our integrated Vital Mask technology would have easily alerted nurses of any abnormal vital readings, while providing Miss Ward a sense of much needed security and safety. And importantly, we validated our solution with experts. 87% of outreach professionals saw an impact for Vital Mask, with 13 unsolicited offers to help pilot product testing, and 5 physicians actively reviewing our product iterations at Weill Cornell Medicine and SUNY Upstate Medical. To conclude, Vital Mask provides a system where patient safety and care are enhanced, healthcare provider work satisfaction is improved, and the financial and legal risks for hospital administrators are reduced. The problem of ED overcrowding will continue to pose challenges globally for decades to come. But with Vital Mask, we offer a cost-effective solution to alleviate the symptoms of this universally tragic problem, one that we hope will save countless lives worldwide. Thank you. Next, I would like to introduce Hubbard Gigi.
Hello, everyone. We are Hover, and we're solving the biggest problem facing aspiring streamers today. So next slide, please. An aspiring streamer is someone who live streams themselves playing video games for 8 to 10 hours a day with less than 1,000 concurrent viewers. They post stream highlights and brand updates to Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube in an attempt to grow their following when they're not live. And we've learned that they're motivated less so by making money, but rather by the idea of having a community that follows them. Some key phrases we've heard are, I feel like a needle in a haystack, and I can grow followings on other social media platforms, but have trouble converting them into Twitch followers. Next slide, please. There are 7.8 million total Twitch streamers in 2020. Of these, 7.54 million are not affiliates or partners, which we categorize as undiscovered. And although we think that this 7.54 million is our total available market, we are choosing to focus on those with the greatest pain point initially, which are the approximate 100,000 undiscovered streamers who are streaming every single day. Next slide. So how can Hover help? We can provide the same feeling that anyone can go viral and get discovered overnight that's present on TikTok to the desperate aspiring streamer who's at wit's end by giving them an equal chance to get discovered, providing them with the resources they need to grow, helping them convert follows when they get when they're not live into stream viewers, and giving them a place where they can build a digital resume that potential viewers can look at before joining their streams. Next slide. Creators find Hover through targeted advertisements on secondary social media platforms, ones that we know they're already active on from our customer discovery, where one click leads to an app download. Additionally, we have an affiliate marketing program through which referring another creator is incentivized through discoverability boosts. Next slide, please. So these are some screenshots of our MVP. Once a user's in the Hover app, they can enter our Discover mode by clicking the Start Hovering button and swiping to go to the next clip. Our algorithm is designed to curate content from both large and small creators that it thinks the user will enjoy, without letting the smaller creators get overshadowed. So you can see in the bottom right of the left screenshot that we provide an additional button for directly following on streaming platforms, which satisfies one of our core value propositions. And on the right is a landing page that highlights the top clips and trending users. We've also been hosting a weekly clip challenge where the top 16 Hover posts for each week are featured in a live stream, and the viewers vote to eliminate clips, ultimately leaving the winner with a cash prize. And this has been giving us a great way to engage with and reward our active users with exposure, and also promote the Hover app to their fan bases. Next slide, please. Some possible revenue models could be similar to Twitch, in which viewers subscribe to streamers. Could be similar to Instagram or Facebook, in which streamers pay to boost their discoverability within the app and self-promote their brand, or go the route of traditional third-party advertising through in-feed advertisements. These are some of our costs listed right here. And you can go to the next slide. Thank you, everyone. I will post some contact information in the chat, and I think we are going to head to the QA now.
Unfortunately, no time for Q&A, but we encourage you to connect with all of these teams in networking room 4, and Ken will take it away now with how to access all of these teams for networking after the pitches.
Hey everybody, okay, let's try that again. So thanks everybody, thanks for hanging in there. What you saw were really early stage pitches. These teams came into eLab, 75 teams applied to eLab this year. Actually maybe closer to 85 if I remember correctly. We took this 21 and we're working with them, and a lot of what they did this fall is really try and do a lot of work figuring out exactly who that beachhead customer segment is, what benefit is that customer looking for. But it's kind of early days, and I encourage you all to come back. We have our spring demo day will be April 28th. So if you go to the eLab site, elabstartup.com, you'll see the link in a second. When you go to elabstartup.com, you can sign up for our newsletter, where you'll get information like things like when demo day is coming up. Michael, you want to go back for a sec? Sorry. As well as information on the current cohort and previous cohorts and videos and so forth. I want to tell you about a couple of events coming up quickly. We have a food and ag event coming up December 8th as part of our Grow New York competition. We have an info session, so any PhD candidates who are potentially listening in, we've had PhD candidates in our program in eLab. We have our commercialization fellows information session for PhD engineers. One of my focuses is hardware entrepreneurship, and we have programs we run this summer, Napkin to Prototype, helping early stage hardware entrepreneurs look at their idea, and a number of those teams have gone on to be part of eLab and actually launch businesses and raise funds and are out in market. And we also have a program for Johnson students, a summer accelerator, sort of a pre-eLab experience, if you will, to help them move things along. A couple thank yous. We have a number of boards. All of these teams work with boards of advisors. Those boards of advisors are made up of two constituencies. One is venture capitalists, who are friends, mostly who are friends of Cornell and mostly are alums of Cornell, and they're currently VCs. And the other constituency is eLab alums. So a number of eLab alums now who've gone on and really know how to work with startups and work with the board are helping these current teams. I want to say a couple thank yous quickly. We could not put this on alone. CEN, Cornell Entrepreneurship Network, has been our partner in getting this together and getting the word out, and we really want to thank them. I want to thank the folks at CREA, Hope and Adam, for helping get all of the logistics together, and everyone else at CREA. If you want to switch pages. Here's what's going to happen next. So if you go to the elabstartup.com page, elabstartup.com, you're going to see links to the different rooms. There are going to be different networking rooms where you can talk to these teams. There'll be a moderator in each room to try and hold some order, and we can even do breakouts from there. So again, if you go to elabstartup.com, you will be able to find a link to the appropriate room that you would like to get to. Thank you, everybody, for coming, and thanks for hanging in there. And we will hope to see you in the breakout rooms, and I hope to see you April 28th for Demo Day. Thanks a lot.